All right, guys, this is a recording and this is specifically for the CA Inter November 23 batch. Yes. So wherever you've done your classes from, wherever you studied from, doesn't matter. If you're here, great. Even if you're someone different, you can use this quick book and you can use this revision lecture. The intention of this revision lecture is classes get over and then few months later, you realize that you've forgotten most of the stuff, but actually it's just gone back. So the idea of doing this session is to do a complete recap of every chapter there is in GST. All right. So we'll pick up one chapter and back to back, guys, using my quick book, using your notes in front of you. We will revise the chapter, and these revision lectures is what you will see whenever you want to revise, even one day before the exam, guys. While you're going back home, while you're traveling from the exam center, you can plug in and watch this and recap the entire GST there is. Yes. Can we start, everyone? Yes. Let's target everyone 5-7 minutes. Keep your volumes up. I want to hear your contribution also, your replies also will be captured here. The 2 mics are on. So actually 3 mics are on. So this will be captured here as well. So let's do this. All right. 1, 2, and 3 mics. All right. Let's start. So I'm opening up the quick book here, and this quick book will help you revise. Of course, your handwritten notes are also there. So both of them will help us revise. Let's take it from the start, guys. First up, guys, in the exam, which one will you start off with? You will always start off with GST first, always. And in that MCQs first, and then you will go it. You know the pattern of the paper. Question number 5 is compulsory. Is that right? And you also know which chapter it will come from, ITC plus payment. All right. And with that, guys, let's start the first chapter, which is called introduction. Let's target 5 minutes, 6 minutes per chapter, guys. Is there a need for tax in India? Yes. There are 2 types of taxes, DTN, which is progressive, which is regressive, which has a wider base, guys, IRT, which has a smaller base, and both contribute equally to the government, guys. This question number 1, all this reference is to ICI material question, but this point is not important. Guys, has GST been introduced and solved a lot of problems? Yes. And has it replaced a lot of taxes? What are the state taxes it has replaced, guys? That is VAT, entertainment, luxury, lottery, entry tax. And has it replaced centers taxes also? Such in excise act, CST, station service tax, excise duty, central sales tax, and surcharges. This could be a good question in the exam. Were there difficulties pre-GST? Is GST the best thing to happen to India? Yes. You always answer yes. And such in different cards got credited and verified. So states, they now get an equal share of taxes. Different taxes have been subsumed into GST. Different taxable events have become one taxable event. Supply, excellent. There is no cascading effect. Credits are very seamless and verification is easy. Guys, did you see the GST number outside the class? Yes. So that's what it is. Composition scheme, you know, we'll come to that scheme in charge of GST chapter. Which amendment, guys? 101st Amendment Act. And guys, is there a framework of GST? One IGST Act, one CGST Act, multiple SGST Acts, or one UTGST Act called DD. Remember called DD? Chandigarh, Andaman, Lakshadweep, Ladakh, Daman and Diu, Dadra and Nagar Haveli. And also GST compensation cess. That was basically collected for how many years? Of course, it has been extended. It's on demerit goods, also called sin goods like tobacco, etc. And it was basically to compensate whom? States in case of any shortfall. Does India adopted dual GST? Because in India, both center and the states have power to levy GST. Example, intra-state supply. And that brings us to 2 supplies versus intra-state. Next is, if EBC, guys, remember our hero electric bike company, if EBC supplies in the same state, intra, if it supplies in other states, is GST consumption based, destination based. So everyone gets credits except the final consumer. Is there a coding mechanism? HSN code for goods and SAC for services. And guys, our returns to be filed regularly. Where are you supposed to file it? GST portal. You know how many portals there are? 3. Right now, we are only discussing one, GST portal. And do we have GST Suvidha providers? Application support providers. And you should know 5 things that you can in the portal, guys. Mark. Matching, application, analysis, registration, and computation. Is GST Gen? And it will never consume alcohol for which consumption? Human consumption. And on 5 products, guys. Petrol, diesel, natural gas, aviation turbine fuel, and crude oil. There will be no GST right now. But in future, can it happen? Who will decide that? GST Council. On alcohol, guys, old taxes. Excise duty, sales tax. And on tobacco products. Both, because, guys, you know, people who smoke don't care about it. Exempt suppliers, how many N's, guys? 1 N is nil. one is non-taxable, which also includes Schedule 3, and one is exempted through notification. All three of them are together called what? Exempt supplier. Guys, GST portal mark, and how many constitutional amendments happened? 246A, 269A, and 279A. In 246A, guys, did we have to put tax on the concurrent list? Yes, because tax was not there in the concurrent list, and we need both center and states to make decisions. Second, 269A. IGST, how to apportion? Who takes the IGST first? Center, and they apportion it. So in that case, how to apportion that formula, besides other things, is given in 269A. But the main article is 279A. There can be a question in the exam on this article or on the GST Council. Guys, GST Council is headed by the Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitaram right now. And guys, it has representation from both the center and the states. Any decision has to be recommended by the GST Council. Will pass by how much percent voting? 75. But center has only how much? 1/3, and states have 2/3. And the quorum required is 1/3. Oh, sorry, 50%. And guys, what are the functions of the GST Council? All the chapters. Threshold limit registration. Who will decide? GST. Which goods or services are to be exempted? Who will decide? Time of supply. Who will decide? Invoice due dates. Anything, e-way bill, everything has to be decided by whom? GST Council. So basically, the chapter names are the GST functions of the GST Council. And with this, guys, we complete chapter number 1. A very easy chapter. Exam importance is not too high. In fact, you'll be surprised at CA final, we always have one question from this chapter, but not at CA inter because we have only 40 marks, guys. Yes. So everyone, let's now begin the second chapter. Everyone, let's get together. What is the second chapter, guys? Value of supply. When do you start realizing value of things? At the age of, and hence the section is, guys, all the sections are of which act? CGST Act. In GST, all the sections are of the CGST Act, and here is section 15. 15 says, guys, very recently, they said they had given two values, MRP and transaction value. Which one will you take? Basically, transaction value means the value that you've agreed to pay. So that is transaction value. So section 15(1) says you can take what value? Provided two conditions. The buyer and seller are not related and the price is the sole consideration. Price is the sole consideration basically means you're not given any barter, no exchange of that sort. All right. Now coming back, what is related person, guys? Do you know the definition? A family can co 25%. Agent, family persons, control, common control, officers and directors in the same company, partners in a partnership firm, and employees, employer, and anyone who has 25% shareholding. And family members, guys, you, yourself, sorry, you, your spouse, and your children. Always. What if your children are taller than you? Still. What if they earn more than you? Still. But your parents, grandparents, and siblings only if they are dependent. Dependent means, yes, not they're holding you and getting up, guys, financially independent. All right. And next, guys, how many things do we add? Remember, this chapter can get you 5 marks. Also, yes, tax these items in supply. So if the supplier who is EBC in our example, is he charging any other tax? Please add it unless it is GST or TCS. TCS we'll see in direct taxes, guys. These. If you are paying any third party, if you are paying any, who's supposed to pay it? Supplier, and who's paying it? Recipient, and should be in relation to the supply, will that also be added? Next, guys, any incidental charges like packing, delivery, testing, weighing, any of these, guys, if you are paying, if you don't pay, no, if the exam they say there's a cost of packing, cost is always there, guys, but if you pay only, then add it. And last, next, sorry, not last, interest, late fee, penalty, will you add? But guys, in that case, you have to separate the GST amount. It is assumed that the interest will have always 18% GST. You know how to separate it? Lace packet, guys. So whatever the interest, 10,000, let's say, divide by 118 into 100, only that will you add. And last, subsidy. Subsidy will you add? If the supplier is benefiting, even the government wants to benefit, unless it's government subsidy, state or central, you will not add. In the exam, the wording is, the amount is after considering subsidy. That means they've already minus it. So you need to do what, guys? Add. And that is 15.2 and 15.3, guys. Will you minus some things? The government doesn't want to minus because, guys, why will the government say supply value should go down? The government wants supply value to be as high as possible. But they only allow one thing, that is discount. Any discount given on the invoice, can that be minus? But what about post-supply discounts? After the supply, is that allowed? Government, guys, gets very disappointed because you've already given them a 1 lakh rupee supply. So they don't want it to be reduced unless 3 conditions are fulfilled. Tick. What is it? Terms have to be informed at the time of supply. Invoice wise discount should be given to you. And if you purchased, have you taken some excess credit? Guys, not everyone takes credit. So this condition only applies to those people who actually take credit. If you've taken excess credit, you need to reverse it. Are we okay with this, guys? And we need to know value of supply because GST is always ad valorem, basically added to the value as a percentage. So to apply the percentage, we need value. And this could be a good question in the exam, guys. Remember value, remember addition, remember section 50. Are we done with this? Practice sums. Every time you finish revision, stop, go, practice sums, come back and watch the next chapter as well. So that ends us with chapter number 2. To 2 chapters done. Now, guys, diving into literally next chapter. Congratulations. Which one, guys? Supply under GST. Now, please tell me, before we get into supply, guys, if today you go home and there's a mail, is there GST on that? No. Because, guys, there's no commercial angle. So GST will only apply when transactions have what angle, guys? Commercial angle. Before we get into the supply concept, guys, can we define what are goods? Goods are everything you see around you. Everything. This mic, this laptop, this pen, everything is goods except IMS, immovable property, never goods. Money, never goods. But if it's numismatic money, collector's coins, that is goods. And S is securities. These IMS is never goods. Guys, actionable claims are goods. They are not charged to GST, but they are goods. Trees, not goods because they are immovable. But when I cut it, yes, excellent, guys. And what are services? Everything except GIMS. Who's the supplier? One who supplies. Who's the recipient? One who pays or the one who receives. What is consideration? Quid pro quo. Who's an agent under GST, guys? Excellent. An agent is the one who issues his own invoice. So if I appoint an agent, he's only marketing my goods, not selling, then is he an agent under GST? No. He has to sell, he has to issue his own invoice. And a Dell creditor agent does one more thing, guys. He also collects money. And if he collects interest, will it be added to his supply? Yes. Everyone, guys, I want more participation, please. Next, guys, a related person definition is the same here. What are deemed distinct persons? Under one PAN, if you have multiple entities, can EBC have multiple entities? Karnataka, Maharashtra, Delhi, etc., wherever. So in all these entities, guys, whichever is registered or not, all these entities will be called deemed distinct. Deemed doesn't mean you're actually trading with them. Deemed means they're existing. They are like your brothers existing in different states. All right. So services, businesses, everything. How many types of supply, guys? 4. Taxable. Is the government happy? 0 rated. You know what are 0 rated? 2 kinds, guys. Export and SEZ. Guys, exempt supply, government is not happy, and personal supply, not happy. Supply, you know, deemed distinct, consideration, actionable claims, anything you can demand, money. Example, unsecured debt. Can you demand money? Lottery, betting, gambling. Taxable territory is India. And yes, now let's come to the section, guys. 7.1a. 7.1a, the A is equal to what, guys? That means for any supply, there should be business and there should be consideration. So if it's in the course of business, like me giving the services in the course of business, and is there a consideration? Yes, then this is supply. So 7.1a, that is business or consideration. Guys, once you know there is supply, which schedule will you go to? Schedule 2, because you want to know whether it's supply of goods or supply of service. How will you know? Title. If the title gets transferred today or in the future, it is transfer of goods. But title never gets transferred. But some are always considered service. Do you remember the list, guys? Restaurant, always service. Works contract, construction, service. Once the house is made, OCCC, then it's immovable property. Tenancy rights, always services. Guys, what are undivided share of property? Also service. What is tenancy right? When you stay in a house for a particular period of time, you get some rights in the house called tenancy rights. When you sell those, that's supply of service. Works contract, if this furniture, if I ask a carpenter to come here, SM. If I give him specification and I give him the main material, then that was also, guys, what? Works contract is service. Yes, the 2 people who are looking here and there, guys, tax is here, marks are here, let's be here. All right. That is 7.1a. Now we go to 7.1b. Guys, 7.1a first. 7.1a, was it supply? Will there be GST? Yes. Guys, donations. Pure donations, are they supply? No. But donation with a board, commercial? Yes. With love from Saurabh Mutta, if I write? No. But guys, if there is some commercial angle, then there is. And sending goods to exhibition. No, unless the goods are sold, then there will be supply. 7.1b, excellent, guys. Bahar se services. In Bahar se services, guys, 7.1b, guys, whether it's for business angle or not, as long as there is, will there be GST? Remember the architect abroad, he is giving EBC services. Who will have to pay tax on it, guys? In India, and that is under which mechanism? RCM. Excellent. That comes in the next chapter, but you're already well versed. Good. And guys, 7(1)(c) is that there is free supply. Guys, free supply also the government is not leaving. Are they taxing that also? But only in how many cases? 4. Schedule 1. So 7(1)(c) is when there is no C, but it should be for which purpose? Guys, if it's not for business purpose, don't even enter Schedule 1. It has to be for which purpose? And in Schedule 1, guys, 4 things. Related, agent, imported, BA. If the free supplies to whom? Related persons, including deemed distinct persons. Excellent, last bench, good. If it supplies to whom? Agent. When the supplies service imported, Bahar says, so Bahar says here also? Yes, there also. But here it is free. Here it is still taxable if it's from only from whom, guys? Related person. And last, guys, if there is any business asset, this laptop, this AC, this any business asset, if I remove, and it should be 2 conditions. Permanent disposal, and I should have taken what? Credit. Then in these 2 cases, guys, will it be supply? Yes. So 7(1)(a), 7(1)(b), 7(1)(c). In all 3 cases, who's smiling? Because they get GST. And if they are smiling, guys, we will get credits as well. All right. Next, guys, is Schedule 3. If it's not goods, not services, it is not taxable. Schedule 3 is a list of non-taxable. Guys, let's see the shortcut here. Employee, partner, director, move government constitutional code for license of AC, burial of MPs. Employees getting what? Partners getting what? Directors getting what? But directors can get sitting fees. We'll see ahead. MPs getting what? Constitutional position getting what? All salary, guys, no GST. Court fees, no GST. Which license? Alcohol license. Actionable claims, no GST, except lottery, betting, gambling. Because, guys, that has to be GST on that. Burial services, no GST. Movement, no GST. And government constitutional positions, no GST. All right. And nice section 8, guys. Sometimes, very rarely, guys, can you have a couple of products and can you have one price? In the exam, a question was asked that you bought detergent for how much rupees? 500. You got a bucket worth 100 free. But guys, did you pay 500 plus 600? No. You paid one price for how many products? That kind of supply, it can be either mixed or composite. So every time you think of mixed and composite, you can only think whether there are multiple products and how many price? One price. If you have other different prices, then will you apply this concept? No. Only multiple products, one price, will apply this concept if they are naturally bundled. If they are like my laptop and warranty, like breakfast in a hotel, guys, is naturally bundled. Yes. And is there any principal supply? That rate will apply. No problem, guys. What is it? No problem. But if they're not naturally bundled, and if there is no principal supply, what kind of supply is happening? Mixed supply, which is punished at what rate, guys? Highest rate of GST? No. Highest rate in that supply, whatever is the highest rate. So a birthday hamper of balloon, cakes, chocolates will be what kind of supply, guys? Mixed supply. Toothpaste and toothbrush will be what kind of supply, guys? Mixed supply. Guys, if I only give a document to printing to a printer, is it supply or service? Yes. But if he gives a content, he prints it, it's supply of goods. All right. Anything else? That's about it. Guys, that is chapter number 3, supply. Yes, good job, guys. 5, 5, 6, 6 minutes. Good chapters are getting done. We now move to the next chapter, which is called charge under GST. All right. So we are at the 4th chapter, guys, which is a very important chapter called charge of GST. Guys, charging of GST basically section which 9, because you charge your phones at what percent, guys? 9%. All right. Charge of GST, everyone. 9(1) and 9(2) are what kind? FCM. FCM means, is there a supplier? Like EBC, has he supplied a bike worth 1 lakh, GST of what? 18,000. The recipient will bear the burden. What will he bear? Burden. The supplier will bear the headache of collecting the money, paying it, etc. So burden, headache on different heads. It's called what, guys? FCM, forward charge mechanism. 99.99% of goods and services in India are under which mechanism? But 9(3) and 9(4) under which mechanism? RCM, who's the hero, guys? Recipient, because both the burden and the headache is on the recipient. Guys, it's only on some goods and some services, but let's go to 9(5). 9(5) is on 3 services only. House, hotel, taxi, and housekeeping. And in these 3 services, guys, if there is an e-commerce operator, then who will be ultimately responsible to pay the government? E-commerce operator. Now let's go to RCM, goods and services. Only these goods, only these services will be under RCM, guys. First, goods. Chewing, cashew, smoking tobacco berry using lottery. Right? These in the first few cases, whether it's cotton, cashews, silk yarn, tobacco, or tendu leaves, these are supplied by whom? Agriculture. To whom? Registered person. Agriculture is small, registered person is big. Which mechanism? RCM. Used goods and lottery being supplied to whom? By whom? Government. Lazy government, guys. Lazy government. Again, under which mechanism? RCM. And now the service is very important, guys. Some resident lawyer, lending cards, met RBI, DIG, good government. Where did they meet, guys? At CCD, sponsored breakfast and reverse basic charge. Now, in this, guys, we will try and do the ones first which have some conditions. First, with service. Guys, this came in the November 22 exam. Security service to be provided by a person which is not a company. Is this under RCM? Yes. Next, guys, resident. I've added this lately because CRR. Remember CRR, guys? If a residential premises is given to whom, guys? Registered person. For what purposes? Commercial. Then which mechanism? RCM. Next, guys, cars. Who's the person who's giving out? Car rental. Any entity other than a company. Who is it giving it to? Company, and it should be car rental, guys. Remember the C connection. This will be under RCM. What rate? 5. But if the car rental wants FCM, can you take it? 12%. Similar to what, guys? GTA. So let's do GTA next. Guys, GTA providing services to any registered person, guys. Will it be under RCM? Also, unregistered partnership firm will be under RCM. What rate? But do they have an option of 12%? Yes. Next, guys, is sponsorship. When sponsorship is given to a person and the resident is a partnership firm, LLP or a company, then what mechanism? So if it's given to an individual, FCM. Guys, next is recovery agent, but they have to be given recovery services to only banks for RCM. Next, guys, author. Do you remember author? 3 questions already on author in the exams. Yes, author is important. It is generally under which mechanism? But if the author is big, can you take FCM? Yes, but he has to register, intimate and raise a bill and stay in this mechanism for 1 year. Next, guys, lawyers we know. Lawyers and tribunal services are the same, this T. Yes, they're under RCM. Lending of what? Securities. Musician. RBI overseeing committee. Yes, GG is government. Guys, when the government is providing more services that are exempt, like your passport, license, all of those were exempt. Guys, other services, the government is lazy, so RCM. But only 3 services the government gets active. TAT. What is the shortcut? TAT. In case of postal, guys, some of them are taxable, speed post. In case of aircraft and vessel leasing, and in case of transport of goods and passengers, does the government collect the GST? And do they pay it? So only 3 under FCM. Which are 3? TAT. Which are 3? TAT. And second, government, they are renting out immovable property. What is R for? Renting. And to registered persons. To whom? Even that is under RCM. Next, guys, the directors. Directors getting salary. Exempt, but directors getting any other fees. RCM. And I as insurance agent, again, which mechanism? RCM. Construction is basically TDR, FSI, etc. Guys, remember when you sell an immovable property to a builder, no GST. But when you sell TDR, FSI, or give a long-term lease, will there be GST? Who will pay it? The builder. And D is direct selling agent. Who is it? Direct selling agent is like an insurance agent. Like whom, guys? But he has to be an individual. And BF and BC giving services to banks. Will it be under RCM? Yes. All right. So this is RCM. Very, very important, guys. And we've done it very well with this shortcut. If you remember, great. And if you want to add, keep reading, keep adding. Yes. Now, guys, 9.5 also we've done. HSN 10.1. Guys, charge of GST, the second part is 10.1. Guys, there are some people who don't want to pay 18, 12, 28%. Do we have an option for them? There's a scheme called composition scheme. So a question can be asked whether Mr. X or X Limited can have the composition scheme. Step 1, trim. Traders, restaurant service providers and manufacturers. Only they can take which scheme, guys? Composition scheme. Second, their aggregate turnover which year, guys? Last year should be up to 1.5 crore. And in the Northeast states, 75 lakh. But Assam has 1.5, Uttarakhand has 75. Remember, guys, this is last year. If it's a new entity, last year's turnover is already 0. Next, once you take up the scheme, guys, can you do 6 things? No. Before that, yes. Once you take up the scheme, you can't. What are the 6 things, guys? Casually needing ice cream, studying, income tax, or enter online. No online sales. no interstate sales, no services except restaurant is okay, marginal is okay, ice cream, pita bread. Do you remember that, right? You're allowed to manufacture, but you're not allowed to trade. Sorry, you're not allowed to manufacture, but you're allowed to trade. So they are not very strict here. Trading is allowed, and needing non-taxable you cannot do. Nil can you do? Yes. Notification exemption you can do. Exam question. There's a person who's making two supplies, taxable and notification exemption. Notification, can he take composition scheme? Lots of people thought that's N, but N is only which one this year, guys? Non-taxable. And you cannot be CTP or NRTP. Remember, casual taxable person, NRTP, we'll see them in the Delhi exhibition. All right. So, guys, here it is. Once you take up the scheme, can you charge GST to the customers? So, you'll issue what? Bill of supply. How much GST you will pay? 151% in this, only CNS GST, and you will pay every quarter. You will pay every. So how many times do you wake up here, guys? 4 times. Remember, April, May, June, you will wake up, pay by 18 July. And the worst part about this scheme is you don't get any credit because give and take. Are you giving a lot to the government? So you don't get as well. All right. Can you opt out of this scheme? First, you will voluntarily opt out because you want to take what? Credits. Second, you want to opt out because you've reached the threshold of turnover or these 6 things. And last, can the GST officer throw you out? In whenever you get out of the scheme in 1 week, you have to write a love letter to the government saying, dear government, I'm now in which scheme? Regular. Or I have opted out. Are we okay? And one PAN, one scheme. That means if I have different entities, guys, can one be under composition scheme, one not? No, all have to be under which scheme? Same scheme. And what is aggregate turnover? Aggregate turnover is for whole PAN, everything outward, everything except IIGN. So no inward supplies, no interest on the outward supplies, no GST, and no non-taxable, guys. No, which schedule? Schedule 3 non-taxable. Only that one. All right. And that is section 10.1 and 10.2. Remember, the section is important here. And yes, marginal services. A small amount of services, guys. But last year's turnover, how much percent? Or 5 lakhs, whichever is higher. Can you withdraw from the scheme? All this we've done, guys. Yes. And can it be also a small service provider? Yes. Even small service providers can take up the scheme, but guys, your first step, service provider. Second step, up to how many lakhs? Third step remains the same. Instead of 6 things, how many things? 5, because now they can provide services, but the rate of GST becomes how much, guys? And remember, guys, whenever you're in the composition scheme, first time composition scheme, then up to how many lakhs? 20 lakhs, they will not charge GST, because up to that, how much was that your registration threshold? All right, and with that, we complete 4 chapters. Over to now the 5th chapter, which is very important, registration. All right, guys, chapter number 5. Go in the same sequence that I'm telling you. And this is the chapter number 5. Registration has some good shortcuts. Let's start, guys. Guys, please tell me, what is the one advantage of taking registration? You can take credits whenever you purchase. Purchase leads to what, guys? Credit. But one disadvantage, guys, when you're registered, then every supply will be subject to what, guys? Lag. Supply leads to lag. TC and SL. Keep them in mind, guys. Yes. And here, what are the benefits? Yes, guys, if someone tells you that, listen, I want to register, will you check against registration? Yes. First section, section 24, you will check against compulsory registration. Now we have a new shortcut called I creation. Now in I creation, guys, let's check who are these people who need to compulsory register. That means within 30 days, they'll need to apply for registration. First, any interstate supplier, any CTP or NRTP. Who are CTP and NRTP? Casual taxable person or non-resident taxable person. We'll see them at the Delhi exhibition in section 27. Next, if you're a RCM recipient, guys, not supplier, RCM recipient. If you're a e-commerce operator like Flipkart, or you're selling goods on e-commerce operator. If you are an agent of which person? Guys, if you're taxable, if your principal is not registered, then no compulsory registration for you. But what if he's registered? Guys, what if your principal is a petrol pump? Then he's not registered, so you don't have to compulsory register. Remember, we had done a question on that called mixed oils. Anyways, TDS, TCS, ISD and OIDR are at CA final, and N is any notified person. Guys, these people don't have to check also. You'll have to compulsory register. Within how many days? Ideally, 30 days. But guys, if you're not fitting in one of these, will you not register? No, you will check which section, guys, next. Section 22, where again you'll have to calculate aggregate turnover, which is again the same except IIGN. Guys, here the first category, first limit is how many lakhs? That means up to 40 lakhs, these people will not have to register if they fulfill how many conditions? 4. But this is actually a notification, guys. Notification numbers are only 3 or 4. This is the first one we come across. Notification number 10, which 10 of which year? 2019. In this, they said that if you're not supplying prohibited goods, guys, if not supplying prohibited goods, that means no manufacturing, no, nothing, guys, here. No registration. Sorry, no manufacturing, no trading of prohibited goods. Pita bread. Remember, pan masala, ice cream, tobacco, aerated water, and bricks and tires. Next, you cannot be doing interstate. Next, you should be supplying only goods. So, moment is service, never 40 lakhs. And you should not be in some states of NT, Mami, and Putsam. Nagaland, Tripura, Manipur, Mizoram. Putsam. Puducherry, Uttarakhand, Telangana, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya. Guys, geography is being tested here, but this is what you need to remember. Then in all these states, you will not get 40 lakhs. Otherwise, congratulations, what is your limit? This is generally only for goods. Next, step 2. NT, Mami. These 4 states are the small states. So, small turnover. How much? 10 lakh. If you cross that, register. And what is the next limit? Default 20 lakh. Guys, by the way, if one unit has 10 lakh limit, one unit has 20 lakh limit, which one will apply, guys? The lower limit, because rotten apple. What is it? Rotten apple. All right. One PAN, one turnover, one scheme basically means you have to calculate turnover based on PAN. And if the turnover exceeds, will you have to register in all the states? Yes, all the states you have to register either in regular scheme or in composition scheme. All right, perfect. And guys, what if in one of the states you are making petrol, selling petrol? Then in that state, you don't have to register. Otherwise, all states will you have to register? Yes. What's the slogan? One PAN, one turnover, one registration, of course, one scheme as well. All right. And when the PAN changes, will the registration have to change? Yes. But some people still will not register. Which are those people, guys? Section 23, HEARS. Let's start in the middle, guys. A is what? Agriculture. Farmers, etc. will not register. You anyways know their supply is exempt. They will not register. Next, E. Exclusively selling exempt supply, like doctors, guys. They will not register. You're an RCM. Supplier, you're a lawyer. Everything is under RCM. Why will you register? You're a handicraft person. Guys, handicraft person up to only, not bigger handicraft person, smaller ones. But what if they're selling interstate? No problem. What if they're selling in an exhibition? No problem. And service providers also up to how many lakhs, guys? What if they're selling interstate? Still no problem, guys. So H and S only up to how many lakhs? 20 lakhs. Excellent, guys. And is there a registration procedure? If you're liable to register, you should apply within how many days? And if you're liable and proactive, do you get an earlier effective date? Yes. Congratulations. So that means from the earlier date, will you get credits? Also, that means from the earlier date, you will have to issue invoices, revised invoices, which you will see in the invoice chapter. Next, guys, every state will have different registration. GST registration is state-wise, but e-way bills, not state-wise. All right, coming back. If in the same state, I want multiple registration, can I do that? Last bench there. Can I do that? Yes, I can. But if I separate, I have to separate all. If I'm joined, all I'm joined. Right? In the same state, if I have an SEZ, SEZ consider a different state only, always and always different registration. Guys, can I voluntarily register? Yes. Do you know what are deemed distinct persons? Can the government tell me to register suo moto? Yes. In that, you have to confirm or appeal against within how many days? 98 days. Guys, next. Guys, do I need a PAN number to register? Compulsory, except NRTP. NRTP will get something called PPF, which we will see ahead. Next, guys, do I have to get Aadhaar authentication also? If not, then 777. Do you remember the hotline number? Will become 377. And guys, is physical inspection mandatory? No, it's only discretionary, depends on the officer. If your surname is Malia, will he visit you? Yes, maybe yes. Yes. All right. And bank details, guys, do you need to update immediately? You get how many days? 45 days to update the bank details. Yes. And what is the hotline number, guys? 777. That means you have to apply and the officer has to get back to you within how many days? If he doesn't get back to you, deemed, congratulations. Next 7 days. Guys, if he is getting back to you, you have to reply within how many days? If you don't reply, then deemed cancellation. And last, again, if you reply, he has to either accept or reject it. Otherwise, deemed acceptance within how many days, guys? 7 days. Congratulations. There is section 25. 26, guys. Are we all in this together? That means if you register under CGST, you register under all. If you are rejected under one, you rejected under all. And section 27 is 27 days Delhi exhibition. Do you remember CTP? Casual taxable person. He is a registered person who is registered in one or more states but temporarily wants to make supplies from another state. And NRTP is someone who is not registered in India, coming from where, guys? After going to how many countries? 5. That's a shortcut, you know why now. And he's come and he's basically temporary making supplies. So both are they temporary? Yes. Do they require registration? Compulsory registration. How many days in advance? And they have to pay GST also in advance based on what, guys? Estimate. Now, guys, CTP and NRTP, how long is their registration valid? A, 90. Period applied for or 90 days, whichever is lower. Can they extend it? Again, by what, guys? That means they cannot logically stay in that place for more than how many days? 180 days. What if I want to forever be there? Then get a normal registration there. And guys, for an NRTP, he will submit PPF, passport details of the foreign representative, PAN of the local representative, and foreign registration details. Great. Guys, section 27, section 28. Can you amend the registration? Three things require approval of the GST officer. Change in constitution, change in address, change in PAN number. No, name. PAN number if you change. Registration, you have to change. Otherwise, guys, all your credits will go away. And any other changes can I make directly, guys? Yes, we do not require approval. Mobile number, email ID will require OTP. 29 golden, guys, letters of section 29. Very important. Can you cancel your registration? Under 29.1, you can apply for cancellation, guys. On sale, amalgamation, all these cases, closure of business debt, you will apply for cancellation. Guys, will the officer immediately cancel? No, he will check, he will make you pay all your liabilities. Any credit will lapse. So remember, guys, cancellation is slightly dangerous even when you apply. And during the pendency of your investigation, that will be suspended. Your GST registration will be suspended. Means, do you have to make any supplies? No. And do you have to file your returns? No. And guys, can the officer suspend or cancel your registration? Yes. Very, very dangerous. It's almost like ICI telling you can't give your exam. Very dangerous. So, can immediately commence how many frauds? 36. These are ways or these are cases where they can cancel. First, if you contravene any provision of the act, if you issue invoice without making, if you don't commence business for how many months, if you don't file a return for 3 months or 6, 3 for composition, 6 for normal, and if you've got your registration through FMS, fraud, misrepresentation or suppression of facts. And also 3 more reasons, which now you know because you've done the chapter ahead. If you got ITC without fulfilling all the conditions. If that 99% rule, remember 86B, 1%, that rule you don't follow. And if there's constant mismatch, you are saying one amount, the supplier saying one amount, if there's constant mismatch, then guys, these can be reasons where the GST officer cancels your registration. But can he surprise you? No, it's not a birthday party. He will send you a notice, guys, which is called show cause notice. Will you get an opportunity of being heard? Yes. And then he will cancel your registration. But cancellation is dangerous because what will happen to the credit? Disappear, guys, lapse, very, very dangerous, and hence can you beg him to revoke it? That's the next section, section 30. Can you beg him to revoke it? Yes, you can, and he can. You have to apply for revocation in how many days, guys? 30 days. Can he extend that period? Yes, depends on your application, depends on how good the GST officer is, depends on his discretion. But if you revoke, guys, whatever wrong you've done, if you've not filed your returns, you need to file it now. Within how many days, guys? 30 days. Section 30 is not so important. It's actually a big section, but don't pay so much attention. 29 is where the marks are. Yes, this is a registration chapter, guys. Very, very important chapter. It is at this stage that we finish how many? 5. So we are halfway there. We'll move on to the next chapter very, very soon. All right. Thank you. All right. The recording is in progress and so are we, guys. This recording will help you revise every time you want to revise. This will make sure that our revisions do well. Every subject which gets over in class, it feels all good, guys. Yes, I know it, etc. But the thing is that we need to last till November and we need to recollect this till November. And hence, the idea is to revise like this. So while we get back on the revision front, we've already done 5 chapters. So now we're looking at the next chapter, which is chapter number 6. Guys, which chapter are we looking at? Time of supply. All right, I'll just move ahead here. Time of supply is the chapter here. Everyone, let's recap time of supply. One practical question from this chapter can be there in your exam as well. So time of supply, guys, does the government want GST? Not only they want it as soon as. So the main word is as early as possible. Now, when the government wants it as early as possible, they have put a section for section 12 for time of supply of goods and 13 for time of supply of services. And they say that based on these, you should pay the GST. Remember, guys, if the time of supply is in March, when you will pay the government, guys? Next month by 20th April. Do you remember this, guys? Yes. So let's start. First one, the section, guys, earlier the better, that we already know. First section is section 12.1 and 13.1. Are they useless sections? Because they only introduce, nothing else, guys. Next, 12.4 and 13.4. Guys, 12.4 and 13.4 are voucher. Have you bought vouchers? Has Amazon, Shoppers Stop supplied you voucher? If the supply is identifiable, then time of supply is date of purchase. If the supply is not identifiable, then the date of redemption, because that's when we'll know what supply actually happened. It is always seen from the supplier's perspective, and same for services also 13.4. Now 12.6 and 13.6. What is that? Interest, late fee, penalty. But is there GST on that? Yes, there is GST on that, and hence, guys, in this case, interest cannot be waived off. Sometimes you pay on time. Guys, I want more replies. Interest cannot be waived off. Yes. So in that case, guys, whenever you pay, or from the supplier's perspective, whenever he receives, that will be the time of supply. Next, guys, 12.5 and 13.5. I'm going there first. What about 12.5 and 13.5, guys? Restatory cases, that means if nothing else applies, and which will apply? 12.5, 13.5. That in that case, let's say you're caught, there's a raid at your house, there's someone who wants GST on the phone, guys. Whatever you're doing, we'll project it here, guys. Yes. So if there is some raid, etc., and you are asked to pay GST, then in that case, the date of payment, will be that number. All right. Next, guys, we come to 12.3 and 13.3. What are these? RCM, supply under RCM. Can you tell me one supply of goods under RCM? Cashews, goods, and one supply of services. Lawyer, security. Under these guys, who is the hero? So here in time of supply, guys, now we have to shift from the supplier to the recipient. From his perspective, we have to see 4 dates. How many dates? And any of these can be time of supply. Earlier of these can be time of supply. So what is the shortcut? Recipient pays in 31 entirely. Guys, from the recipient's perspective, the date he receives, or the date he pays, or from the invoice date, how many days, guys? 31 days. Now, guys, receipt of goods is pretty simple. Payment, if there's a different payment date in the bank account, different in the actual account, then which one? Whichever is earlier. And invoice 31 days means from the invoice, how many days? 31. Or after the date of invoice, how many days? 30. It can be anything, guys. Both are the same. And if all these 3 are not there, then which one, guys? Entry in the books of accounts, that date will be considered as a time of supply. Guys, this is section 12.3. What is 13.3? Time of supply of services. Last people, please move ahead. 13.3 is time of supply of services. Now, in case of services, guys, again, same shortcut. Recipient pays in how many days, guys? In 31 entirely. Then you will cancel out what, guys? Recipient, you will make 31.61. So now again, from the recipient's perspective, date of payment or 61 days from the date of invoice. Guys, do you know how to calculate 61 days? From today, how will you calculate 61 days? 14 March. How many days in March? So 14th April is how many days, guys? 31. And 14th April to 14th May is how many days? 30. So is it 61? Yes. So you have to do it like this. And if both of them are not given, then which entry? Entry date. Are we okay with this? Guys, when you're taking Bahar se services, guys, important. When you're taking Bahar se services, remember, is it taxable? And who has to pay the tax? The recipient, where is he? In India. So is it under RCM? So which section will apply for Bahar se services also? 13.3. Same thing will apply, pays in 61 entirely. But if the person who's giving you service from abroad is an associate enterprise, what is he, guys? Associate enterprise means related party. Associate enterprise means related party. Then in that case, guys, what will happen? The invoice will not happen, guys, because does your uncle issue an invoice to you? No. So it's only payment date or entry date, whichever is. So suddenly entry date will now come into the forefeature. All right, forefront. All right. Next, guys, 12.2 and 13.2. But before we do this, please tell me, is there a due date by when invoice should be issued? For goods, guys, example, I'm supplying this pen. So whenever the pen is delivered or removed or delivered. And for services, 30 days or 45 days. But sometimes, guys, if the goods are sent on approval, whenever they're removed, should invoice be issued? No. Whenever they are approved. And maximum 6 months. And for cessation, guys, whenever the services end, by then the invoice should be issued. And in case of continuous supply of services, guys, DPC, do you remember that? Continuous supply of services means my accounting firm is giving services to a client. So see the contract. If D is mentioned, D is what? Due date of payment. Or second, payment date or completion date. Whichever earlier, no. In that order. Excellent. In that order. And for continuous supply of goods. Example, you all are making these pens. I'm supplying these nibs continuously. Then, guys, we'll not see removal deliver. We'll see PS. We'll see whenever you have to pay or whenever the statement has to be issued, by then the invoice should be issued. Guys, the main one is the first one, removal or delivery, and 30 and 45 days. Now let's go to 12.2 and 13.2. Guys, 12.2 and 13.2 are what? FCM. Can you tell me one service or one good sold under FCM? Bike. Bike is sold under what, guys? FCM, electric bike company. And one service, Yasha's Academy, is selling you under what? FCM. So let's go to 12.2. 12.2 says, I demand payment. I is what? Invoice date. D is what? Due date of invoice. P is what? payment date. But in case the payment date is advanced, in case the payment date is, then ignore that. Which notification I told you? Number 66 of 2007. Second notification. All right. And if it's not advance payment, don't ignore, but automatically it will get ignored. Are we clear, guys? So that means, guys, advance payment, is it subject to GST for goods? No, because advance payment is what, guys? Ignore. So unless you issue the invoice or due date of invoice happens, advance payment in case of goods, will it be considered? No. Will government get GST on advance payment of goods? No. But what about services, guys? The shortcut is IP or PP, depending whether invoice is on time or not. If it's on time, within due date, IP, invoice date or payment date. And if it's late, provision date or payment. So is payment date constant? And here, do we ignore any advances? No. In the entire time of supply, you don't ignore advances except 12.2, except 12.2. Are we okay with this, guys, here? So provision, payment, invoice, payment. All right. And that is it. And once time of supply is established, you will pay to the government by the next 20th. Are we okay? And any excess payment. See, the beauty about this quick book is you don't miss out on anything, guys. Any excess payment up to how much, guys? 1000 INR. So example, your phone bill was 990 rupees. How much? You paid 1000 because it will get adjusted next month. So how much extra have you paid? 10 rupees. Now Vodafone or Jio has an option to pay the 10 rupees GST. On 10 rupees is a GST. Yes. To pay it along with this supply or next supply, it is of the option of the supplier. Are we okay, guys? But only up to how much? So greedy government is now greedy, not greedy for up to how much GST, guys? On 1000 rupees GST. Are we okay with this, guys? This is a very good chapter, time of supply, guys. Will get your marks. Practice as many sums as you can. From the Yashas book, from any book that you have, from the ICI material, guys. MCQ, RTP, MTP, whichever book you get. But concepts, you can stop here. All right. Now moving ahead to the next chapter, which is the big chapter, guys, the most important and the most consequential chapter, which will get you 8 marks in your exam. And that chapter is called which one, guys? ITC, Input Tax Credit. But before we go there, guys, whenever we purchase, you get what? Credits. Whenever we supply, we get what? Only registered persons get purchase credit, guys. So if you as a student purchase, will you get credit? No. But if I purchase for business, will I get credit? Yes. So inputs are 3 kinds. Either it can be input of goods or input of services or capital goods. Example, EBC, can they buy batteries? Can they buy CA services? And can they buy Tempo also? Yes, remember Tempo was bought for how many lakhs? 10 lakhs. We'll keep a similar example, 10 lakh GST of 1 lakh 80 in December, guys. When was it bought? In December. All right. So section ITC. Okay, first up, when is ITC taken? Which ledger is it taken? Credit ledger. On the credit side, we keep adding it. Is it a good thing? It's a great thing. It's like someone putting money in your Paytm account. It's a great thing. But guys, are there some conditions attached? Yes, let's start with the section, guys. Section 16.1. First condition. BR. That means all your purchases should be for the purpose of business. Whether intention is for the business, is that okay? Yes. And you should be registered. Are we okay with this, guys? Next, 16.2. 4 more conditions. DR, GR. First, there should be a document. That means, guys, whenever you purchase, should you have an invoice? And not just that, that invoice has to be uploaded by whom? Supplier in GSTR1. Now you know, in GSTR1. What if he doesn't upload it? Guys, what if he doesn't issue an e-invoice and all? That is okay. As long as he's uploaded the details and is it reflecting in your 2A, 2B, etc., then guys, you will get credit. Otherwise, you will not get credit. That means if he does something wrong, are you punished? Yes, you are punished for that case. Next, guys, what is R? Receipt. Receipt of what? Goods or service. Only if you receive, in the month you receive, can you take credit? What if you don't receive? Then you can't take credit. If you don't receive, you can't take credit. Guys, what if received in lots? Then last one. But the examiner has to tell you lots. Don't assume lots, guys. And what if it's in bill to ship to model? Then is it being billed to you? But is it being shipped to someone else? Then in that case, again, guys, will you assume to be received it? Yes. Next, G, very important. Government wants the tax. That means GST. But that means you have to pay today? No. You have how many days to pay, guys? Excellent. Rule 37 says you can pay within 180 days. Guys, if you don't pay within 180 days, then the month in which that 180-day period expires, that month, not the next month, that month, you have to do RI. Whatever credit you've taken has to be reversed. And from the date you've taken the credit till the date you will pay, you'll have to pay interest at what rate, guys? And remember, guys, interest can only be paid in cash. So it's a cash expenditure that you'll incur. And then finally, do you pay after 180 days? If you did, will you get re-credit? Yes, you can re-avail the credit, but interest, sorry, that's gone. Guys, rule 37 in the exam will sound very different. Oh, he's not paid the payment, but he's still taking credit. Whatever I just said, he's not making the payment, but he can still take the credit. Yes, you can, but you have to pay within how many days? This rule will not apply in three cases: F, T, R. When the goods are supplied free, then who should you pay? Why should you pay? Then T, if you already paid third party, then why you should pay within 180 days? And last R, if it's under RCM, in RCM, who pays the GST? Recipient. Will they protect the supplier? No, guys. Supplier, who we don't care. All right. And last R is return filing. Who should file the return? The person who's taking the credit. If that person files a return, will he get credit? Yes. Good job, guys. Next is section 816(3). This is only for the tempo. This is only for which goods, guys? Capital goods. Is there a GST on the capital goods? How much is the GST on tempo? 1,80,000. That GST can either go in the credit ledger, 1,80,000, or it can go to the balance sheet. Guys, balance sheet means taking depreciation. The words like fully capitalized and all, you should know it's balance sheet. So if they take it to the credit ledger, can they go to the balance sheet? No. But in the exam, they say if it's fully capitalized, means taken where? So sorry, you cannot take credit. Smart guy will take what, guys? Credit. But unless credit is blocked, then where will you go? Balance sheet. And last 16(4), guys, do medicines have expiry? Does your favorite cake and pastry have expiries? Yes. Similarly, here also do we have an expiry? Expiry of a particular year does not happen in that year. True or false? True. It happens in the next year. Two dates, A or B. This has been recently amended. So A is what, guys? 30th November. Is that fixed? Yes. And B is your annual return filing date. You know, guys, most people have to file the annual return, whichever date it is. What if it's 15 September? Then 15 September. What if 15 December? Then 30th November. By then, guys, if you don't take the credit, you have to take the credit by that day. If you don't take it, will you be allowed to take it later? What if an invoice is missing and you get it after 5 years? Will you be able to take credit? No. But can you use the credit later or anytime? Yes. Usage, there is no time limit. Next, guys. Block credit. Guys, are some credits very legitimate? Example, me buying a car for my business. Is that legitimate, guys? Yes. But still the government says, sorry, we can't differentiate. And for that reason, we've blocked it. We've very important section 17.5. In 17.5A, what is VAM? Vessel, aircraft, motor vehicle. In that is the credit block. Yes, it is blocked. Unless, guys, you write what? GST, please. Unless it is for goods transport or you are in the same line. What is same line? Selling or even renting it. All the taxi guys, etc. And what is T? Training. And passengers, guys, is only for which vehicle? Passenger capacity should be more than how many? 13 passengers. Spectators need to be active, guys. More than how many? 13 passengers, including what? Driver. Everyone next to you, please. Phones away. Please take his phone. Keep it somewhere else. All right. Guys, this is VAM. This is GST place. But if the main VAM is allowed, the repair, maintenance, insurance, leasing, will that also GST allowed? Yes. All right. The next one is 17.5B. Now I'm going to choose people who are not answering. So in the middle, both have to participate. Yes. 17.5B. B is for what? Beauty. Or for what, guys? Food and beverage or clubhouse membership, guys, or insurances or holidays. They say, sorry, we cannot give credit on this unless it is SS. What is SS? Same line of business or statutory required. Guys, I have my eyes on everyone in this class, guys. Everyone has to participate. So please, yes. Next, 17.5C. What are you constructing? Immobile property. Guys, immobile property construction. Is it blocked? Yes. Guys, because immobile property, they don't get GST ahead unless it is PSP. What is P? Plant and machine, including its foundation. What is S? Same line of business. Example, I'm a construction company. I have taken some services. And what is P? If any construction services have been debited to P&L account. D is the same, guys. D is for what? Develop. Here it's self-construction. It's the same. PSP is the exception. E. Easy. Which scheme is easy, guys? They wake up how many times, guys? 4 times. Like some people in the class also in the class. Yes. So E, easy scheme, composition scheme, no credit, sorry. You know the reason also. What is F? Foreigner, excellent. NRTP, even though, sorry, we can't give you credit. G. Ghar, you've done personal supply, guys. Your bike was supposed to be sold, you took it home. Will they give you credit on this? But I've already taken credit. Reverse. Next, guys, H. Very important. If you're giving out samples or gifts, etc. Or unhappy, guys. If the goods are lost, stolen, destroyed, damaged, obsolete, then in that case also no credit. What if already taken the credit? Reverse. And I, guys, investigate. Can they investigate your credits? Yes. If they feel you've taken the credits fraudulently, can they investigate it? Yes. And there's a rule called Rule 86A. A is basically putting restrictions. Use the word right. Putting restrictions on the utilization of ITC. Then in that case, guys, Who can put the restriction? Rule 86 says commissioner or an officer not below the rank of assistant commissioner with the approval of the commissioner, and that restriction will be placed for maximum how much time? 1 year. And can you request for an earlier withdrawal? Yes. And this restriction is imposed generally when the supplier is non-existent, or the recipient is non-existent, or the supply is non-existent, or the invoice is non-existent, or government does not get the tax. Word it better. Instead of non-existent, you try and use different words. And guys, 17, 1 and 2, is it give and take? Do you know what is give and take? If you give, what will you get? Credits. 17.4 is for banks. Guys, for banks, NBFC, insurance companies, do they have two functions? Some of their supplies like interest is exempt, some of it is taxable. Now, in case of exempt supply and taxable supply, will they get full credits? No. So either can choose A proportion, which is CA final, rule 42-43, or they can use BD 50%. What is BD 50%? For the month of Feb, first total up all the credit. Whatever you purchase, whether it's block, walk, everything take a total. First minus 1. Whatever is block credit minus, because we don't give you the credit. Next, what do you minus? Deemed distinct persons you minus, because in that case, they don't want to give the credit. They want to give 100% of the credit, take it to the credit ledger, and the balance, how much is ineligible? So how much is eligible? 50. So that is how it is BD 50%. And you have to stick to that method for how long, guys? 1 year. Excellent. That brings us to the last section, section 18. In section 18, guys, the first situation 18.1, the government is very happy because of 4 situations. Either people who are not registered are voluntary registration. Either people who are registered, but under which scheme? Are getting into which scheme? Regular scheme. And last, guys, people exempt supply is becoming taxable. Last 2 people who are already registered. In all these 4 cases, is the government happy? So for the purchases made before the effective date, do you have to realize the effective date, guys? Before the effective date, whatever stock you have, which is still lying with you, will you get credits? Provided the stock is fresh. How fresh? Purchase within 1 year. That data invoice should be 1 year. And guys, but on capital goods, sorry. Except for the last 2 situation, we will give you credit, but after minusing 5% per quarter, because guys, is it second-hand goods? Yes. So for the tempo which is bought in December, which quarter, guys? October, November, December, Jan, Feb, March. Today is March. So 14 March, so Jan, Feb, March, 2 quarters into how much percent? So 10% ITC will take away, Baki, that the remaining will give you. That is 18.1. Fresh stock is 18.2. Guys, can I give my ITC to some random person on the road? No. You can only give it under sale, amalgamation, merger, reorganization, also deemed distinct person. Guys, in SAMR, can I transfer it? Yes. I have to go online, make an application, GST, ITC, GST 02. 01 was the first one. And here also, do I need a CA certificate? And if my assets go to someone else, my liabilities also go to someone else. But in case of merger, only on the basis of value of assets. What is reorganization of business? A proprietorship firm becoming what, guys? Will the PAN number change? Yes. So credit will lapse. No, credit will not lapse. You can transfer it, but you have to do these formalities. And guys, if you have a brother, a deemed distinct person, in the same state, can I transfer ITC? Yes, guys, here also, but he has to be in which state? Same state. And here also based on which value of assets. Rule 41 for SAMR and Rule 41A for this one. Are we okay? And guys, when you buy an asset, you're expected to use for how long? You are expected to use it for 5 years, that is 60 months. If you sell it within 60 months, is there punishment? A or B, whichever is higher. What is A, guys? The selling price into GST rate. What if they've not given GST rate? Then whatever you purchase at, same. And B, guys, they say, listen, you are basically you're selling the asset. So whatever time you use the asset, number of quarters, will we give you? Yes. Besides that, you'll have to reverse it. That means you'll have to pay. So what is A is 1 lakh and B is 1,20,000. Then 1,20,000. Remember? So again, you have to do quarterly calculation. How much percent per quarter? Per quarter or even part thereof. 1 day of the quarter also will be full quarter, guys. Yes. So you'll have to pay that and pay through the liability ledger. This is a punishment. If you sell after 60 months, only A. If you scrap sell, again, only A. A always applies because once you're registered under GST, everything is taxable. And last, guys, if it's molds, dyes, refractory bricks, and you're selling them within 60 months, only A. A always applies. Are we okay? And the last very sad moment, guys, the government is very sad because a regular scheme guy is getting into which scheme? And a taxable supply is becoming what supply? The government says, listen, you cheated on me. You told me you're going to be in the regular scheme. I gave you a diamond ring. Remember that? So now are they going to take it back? Yes. Whatever stock is not sold, check the credit. I want it back. And reverse it in which ledger? liability. Always reverse in which ledger, guys? Pay back only from one ledger, liability. And guys, on capital goods, if you've used it, no problem. I'll give it to you for that much time. But other than that, I will reverse it. But this calculation will be based on number of months. So if you use it for 10 months, 10 divided by 60, that you'll give you. But 50 divided by 60, reverse it in which ledger? Liability. And the total liability now is 2.5 lakh, but you have credit of 3.5 lakh. What will happen to the 1 lakh, guys? Lapse, it will forego. What is the shortcut? Forego, and that's why the section is 18.4, 18.5 and rule 444 go. Are we okay? So this is the sad moment, and this moment, guys, why is it sad? And hence forego, guys. Sad for government, sad for you also. That's how to remember it. And only in this case is monthly calculation. Are we okay? Now, guys, can you use your credits? The utilization of credit, guys, we are slowly transitioning from this chapter to payment chapter. We'll do that also right now only. In case of credits, guys, can you utilize your credits? Yes. Section 49A. 49B and rule 88A says that there's an order of utilization of credit. First, guys, whose bill will be paid? Parents, IGST liability. From which money? Parents' money, IGST credit. Once you paid that bill, guys, then do you have to exhaust some limit? Yes, I have to exhaust what? IGST credit has to be fully exhausted. Before whose money can we touch? CGST and SGST. Thank you so much. So that we'll have to first use before we use CGST, SGST. And can children help each other? That means CGST, SGST, no cross utilization. But can they help parents? Can parents help them? So what is that one output tax where everyone can help? IGST. Excellent. That was a question. So here we go. So this is the steps. And now rule 86A, which we've already discussed. That is also here. Rule 86B. Guys, can the government beg? Yes, they can beg for how much GST? So they say that any registered person having taxable supplier more than how much, guys? 50 lakh in a particular month will have to pay GST using cash ledger. At least, what if I want to pay more cash? No problem. But at least 1% you have to pay. That is the rule here. And guys, so this rule applies only when your monthly supply is more than 50 lakh. But guys, the government will not apply it in 4 cases. That tax refunded in cash by the government. First, income tax paid in how many years? Last 2 years, in each of the years more than 1 lakh. Good. Refund of GST more than how much? In which year? Last year. In cash, guys, if you are paying, if you already paid till this month, which month are we in? March. If from April to Feb, every month you've already paid in cash more than how much? Then in this month, will this apply? No. Guys, this rule will apply only for all previous months except April. Because April, what is the previous month in this year? Nothing. And last, guys, government obviously does not apply to themselves. So government, local authority, PSU, this begging rule does not apply to them. Guys, amazing questions. 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, and more 8. November 23. Promise, guys, 8 marks from this paper, from this chapter. Are we okay with this? Continuing with payment, because it's returns here, but I want to continue with payment chapter. So I'm just going to move ahead to the payment chapter. Yes. Guys, how many ledgers do you see? 3 ledgers. First one, liability, next credit, and next cash. Let's, guys, discuss liability. For everything you will quote section 49. Now, guys, liability ledgers, there are 5 types of liability. TIFPO, tax, interest, fees, penalty, other. And liability arises whenever you supply. So whenever you supply, liability goes up. You need to pay the liability every month. Otherwise, the bill will get cut. Remember that, guys. And is there an order of payment of liability? Liability self-assessed. First, self-assessed tax and other amounts of which period? Then current period. Then any amount determined by whom? GST officer. Then next, guys, electronic credit ledger. How do you get credit? Whenever you purchase, you get credit subject to some condition. Credits are great. They can be useful, but they can be used only to pay one tax, guys. FCM tax, interest, fees, penalty, others, cash ledger. And remember, there are only 2 ways, guys, when you get out of this building, right and left. If right is blocked, take left. So if cash, if credit you cannot use, what will you use? Cash. All right. IGST to be used first, then the other credits will be used. And you cannot use it to pay reverse charge. And by composition scheme also, you cannot use credits. You have to pay in cash. Remember, composition scheme from your own pocket. Perfect. And it will be self-assessed. What if you say something else and the supplier is saying something else? Then whatever has been self-assessed, repeat, whatever has been self-assessed in the return of the registered person. Everyone, repeat, guys. Whatever has been self-assessed in the return of the registered person will be given to him as credit in the electronic credit ledger. And that brings us to the next ledger and the last ledger, guys, cash ledger. Cash ledger, guys, you will use, first you will exhaust which one? Credit. And if credit is not enough, you will use cash. Or you are paying interest, etc. Then you will pay cash. Guys, cash is similar to your bank account, is it? Will you deposit money? When you deposit money, will you fill a challan? And you will get a number called Common Portal Identification Number, CPINs. How many digits? Valid for how many days? 15 days. And guys, this is proof that you generated the challan. Can you use the challan to pay? Is it a good thing to pay? No, it is a sin to pay. Challan identification number. How many digits? 14 plus 3 bank code. And guys, this is a proof that you paid to the government, guys. And all the banks will have to nominate one branch as called the Electronic Focal Point Branch. And that is a branch where money will be paid to the government for NEFT and RTGS, guys. All right. Guys, now I've generated the challan. Can I pay through my bank account? Yes, so there are online methods and there are offline also. That's called over the counter. Cash, check, and DD. Only for cash, guys, the limit of how much? 10,000 per person per tax period, unless you're the government or the GST officer who's confiscated money or several assets which have been confiscated. There's no limit there. All right. And so if there's a question that only online methods are applicable, is it incorrect? Yes. And in the cash ledger, guys, how many major heads? 4. And how many minor heads under each? And if I want to move money from one to the other, can I do that? GST PMT 09 section 4910. Again, was a prediction. It came in the November 22 paper. Yes. All right. So that are the ledgers, guys. And if you pay late, guys, is there any interest on delayed payment? Guys, there is interest on delayed payment, guys, in case you pay late. So for March, when do I have to pay? 20th April. Until that day, is there any interest? No. So interest starts from which day? 21st April. Count the number of days into what rate? Guys, if you've not filed a return, if you've not filed a return, have you used the GST credit? No. So you will minus the credit and pay on the net amount. Not filed, net amount. But guys, what if you filed a return? Then after a while, you recover some invoice. Then on which amount, guys? Gross amount. So because you already used the credit, so on gross amount, but the rate of interest is always 18. But if you are one of the smart guys with a very smart CA who tells you, listen, just reduce your liability, no? Or just increase your credit, no? How will the government know? If the government trusts you, self-assess, can you do that? No, don't do that, guys. Don't listen to that CA. Because undue or unreasonable reduction of what? Liability. Or undue or unnecessary reduction of increase of what? Credits can lead to 24% interest. They will not tell this in the exam. They'll just say contravene the provision of the act. That means you have to understand that he's done something smart. And then that rate becomes what, guys? 24%. Other things remain the same. Guys, this is a chapter called ITC and payment. We merge it together because they're really, really important. So watch this recording, then read your handwritten notes, and then go over to sums. The problem is that this video has been made because people, when they say, okay, I'll do ITC chapter today, they start in the morning until evening, they're only reading concepts. One after the other concepts. No, guys. Concepts is this video. Concepts are handwritten notes along with this video. The moment concepts end, you move to where, guys? Questions. Back-to-back questions, and that's will get your marks. So concept will not give you marks, questions will give you marks. All right. So that is which chapter have we just finished, guys? ITC and payment. We move to the next chapter now. All right. So the next chapter, guys, is already here. The next chapter for revision is a chapter called invoice. Let me just go to that chapter, or actually here it's returns, but we'll go to the invoice chapter first. Guys, tax invoice, which notes? Debit notes, credit notes, and e-way bill. Guys, is invoice necessary for supply? If you don't have invoice, what will you not get? And anyways, guys, invoice is a proof of purchase. Do we need a physical invoice to be uploaded? No, we only need details, guys. But remember, guys, invoice is important. Is there any format of the invoice? Do we have to put your photograph? No. Narendra Modi's photograph? No. Guys, it's a basic format and some details. Do we need an invoice number? It should be how many maximum digits? 16 serial number, unique serial numbers. Should you have a date? Details of supplier, details of recipient, only if the supplier is more than 50,000 or it's B2B. What is B2B? Business full form, I know, guys. What is B2B? Supply made to registered persons. That means either composition scheme or regular scheme. It's B2B. Otherwise, it's B2C. Guys, B2B government is more keen on because they have to give credits. And guys, HSN code. How many HSN code in the invoice? If your turnover is more than 5 crore, then 6. Remember, more than 5, 6, and up to 5 crore, 4 digits. All right. And some people don't have to give an invoice like this, like banks, etc. They can issue one invoice at the end of the month, no serial numbers. Guys, last time we went for a movie, was a separate invoice. Take it as a invoice. Passenger transport also, goods transport also. And now, guys, section 31. Guys, in 31, we've already done 1, 4, 7, 2, 5, 6. Remember due date of invoice? So we go to 31(3)(a. Guys, sometimes do you need to issue additional invoices? That happens when you are liable and proactive. In that middle period, you have to issue revised invoices, and those are called, I'm in my shortcut, additional invoices. How much time do you have? After you get your number, you have 30 days, and can you consolidate it? Yes, if the supplier is within the same state, up to 2,50,000. Guys, if you are very busy, will you issue invoices? So less than 200 supply. No, unless it is more than or equal to 200, or unless the person is B2B. Excellent. So you will issue invoices at the end of the day otherwise. And guys, composition scheme dealers, will they issue invoice? They will issue what? Bill of supply. That is 31(3)(c). If it's exempt supply, again, bill of supply. Otherwise, both bill of supply come tax invoice. All right. 31(3)(d). Guys, in advance, do you pay in advance? Will you get a voucher? What is that voucher? Receive voucher. And if the advance gets cancelled, then what voucher, guys? Refund voucher. All right. So that is receive voucher and refund voucher. Next, guys, in RCM, do you have to create your own invoice? Yes, because the supplier is not issuing an invoice. So you have to create your own invoice called self-generated invoice. And not just that, you have to also issue a payment voucher. Yes. All right. Now, guys, particulars in invoice, this is here. And e-invoicing. Guys, very good. E-invoicing, 4-5 marks can come. E-invoicing is an electronic invoice. It is applicable for B2B supplies made by those registered persons whose turnover has been more than 10 crores in any year since 2017-18. But only for which supplies, guys? B2B supplies. How do you create an invoice? You have to generate a regular invoice, then go to the invoice registration portal. Upload the details, click submit, you will get an invoice registration number along with the invoice and a QR code. Who is not subject to e-invoice? The government served good and bad popcorn in theater. So government is not subject to it. So SEZ, units, developers are subject. You and me, units are not subject. Good and bad popcorn. Good, GTS. B is banks, etc. Popcorn P, PTS. And last, guys, theaters. These people are not subject to what, guys? E-invoice. Very good. And last, are e-invoice important? They are a way to report and reconcile fake errors. Will errors reduce? Yes. Will fake invoices get eliminated? Yes. Can reconciliation become easy? What that person has supplied, what have you bought? Where are they reporting it, guys? In GSTR 1. Because e-invoice means what is happening? Supply. Supply means which GSTR 1. And also supply means e-way bill. So in both these, will it get auto-reported? Yes, it will get auto-reported. Next, moving ahead, guys. The following will be exempt. Just 1 minute. Okay. Guys, next, moving ahead now to the next one, which is exceptions done. Guys, do you have a QR code? QR code is for ease of payment, or ease of, but we have a dynamic QR code used in certain cases. Are we okay, guys? Dynamic QR code has embedded what? Amount is embedded, and it is to be used by all those persons whose turnover is more than how many? 500 crores in any year since 17-18. Compulsory for them. And guys, here QR code is only for B2C supplies. Which supplies? B2C supplies. Delivery challan. When you supply, what do you issue? Invoice. But if it's not supply, if it's exhibition, if it's job work, what do you issue? Delivery challan. Also issued in how many copies, guys? Triplicate, just like an invoice. And do you remember CKD, SKD? Completely knocked down, semi knocked down. In those cases, guys, first supply will come with the invoice, and every supply will come with copy of invoice and delivery challan. Theoretical, guys, but pay attention. Theory is where you get stuck. So if you have managed theory well, it's great. Guys, 32 section. Can you collect GST unauthorized? No. Can you collect GST excess, guys? People have no idea. Don't charge them 5, charge them 50% GST. 28% on everything. People will get fooled, but you can't fool them because the government says, if you're fooling people, that money will go to whom? So ultimately, government fools everyone, guys. They take all the money. There's 33 section. Do you have to put the numbers separately? And 34 says debit note, credit note. This came in this exam, November 22, guys, for 4 marks. Enumerate the cases when credit note can be issued. So please pay attention. Debit notes, credit notes, can they be issued? First, credit notes. Whenever the QTV, quantity, tax or value is higher in the invoice, then what do you need to do? Cut. C for cut, C for credit note. Also in case of returns, credit note. Who is not happy with credit note? Because the amount goes low, GST goes low. So hence, is there a time limit for credit note? Same time limit next year, A or B. And debit notes. QTV is lower in the invoice. So what do you need to do? Increase. Is it dangerous? Because it increases GST is dangerous. Guys, debit note. Is there a time limit for that? No. Someone says bring the money anytime. No problem. Yes. All right. That's 34 section. Next, guys, e-way bill is an movement. Whenever movement of goods happens, what do you need to create? E-way bill. E-way bill is required if the supply is more than how much, guys? 50,000. Supply is more than how much? 50,000, including GST. All right. Three cases where you have to supply e-way bill generated even without 50,000. Voluntary, handicraft, and job work. Guys, e-way bill pending created by whom? Supplier or recipient or transporter if authorized. Can it be cancelled? Yes, within how many hours? Or by the time movement starts, not later than that, guys. And does it have to be accepted? Yes, within how many hours? 72. And if you get the goods before that, they're deemed accepted. See, e-way bill is only for goods, guys, not for services, because only for movement. And is there a validity of e-way bill? For every 200 kilometers or part thereof, how many days? 1 day. So if it's 210 kilometers, 2 days. Yes, excellent. So even a point will go to the next number, and the days will start from today or tomorrow. If you generate today, it will start from tomorrow. For over-dimensional cargo, 20 kilometers per day. And if one of the parts of travel is by ship, again 20 kilometers. Are we okay with this, guys? Yes. And it saves time, fuel, etc. All right. How many parts to the e-way bill? Part A has all the details: consignor, consignee, value, etc. And part B has only transport, which can be modified. Part B, as and when transporter changes, can you modify it? It should reflect the vehicle number. All right. Then, guys, can there be a consolidated e-way bill? If a vehicle has many e-way bills, the transporter on his own can generate GST e-way bill 0, 2. It's like a trip sheet. It's like what? Does it have an own validity? No. And validity is discussed here, except in rejection. If an invoice is split into multiple vehicles, do we need multiple e-way bills? Yes. And e-way bill, can they restrict your creation of e-way bills? Again, exam question. Can they restrict it? Yes, guys. E-way bill restriction when the GST registration is suspended. Or 222. GSTR 1 not filed for how many periods? GSTR 3B not filed for how many periods? Or composition scheme dealer not paid for how many quarters? 2 quarters. Then in that case, your e-way bill will be restricted. For which supplies? Outward. Inward? Can they check your e-way bill? Yes. Can they physically inspect it? With approval, when early report within 24 hours, final report within 3 days. And if they stop you for more than 30 minutes, can you also report it? And there are some cases where, guys, there is no e-way bill, like postal goods, pearls, jewelry, currency, etc. All right. Perfect. Perfect. And guys, what if your vehicle does not have an e-way bill? Then the goods are liable to be confiscated or with a fine of up to 10,000 or the tax evaded, whichever is higher. All right. E-way bill generation is to be blocked only in respect of which movement, guys? Outward movement. Perfect, guys. So that brings us to the end of this chapter called invoice. And with that, guys, we go to the last chapter. In technical terms, of course, we have a chapter called exemption, but there is already a video on that. I'll make another one. But right now, I'm looking forward to discuss a chapter called returns. Yes. All right. The next chapter, guys, is returns chapter. Typically, these chapters are theoretical and they are asked in question number 8. Which question? You can avoid them if you know 5, 6, and 7 well. But that's if you know 5, 6, and 7 well, and if they are not very difficult. All right. So let's do something that we know. Returns chapter. Do everything well, so you don't have too many options. You have too many options to choose from, and you're not forced to answer the question in the exam. So, guys, do we have to file returns? Does the government need to know what happened with EBC and with you and me? Yes. You need to file some monthly returns, some quarterly returns, and of course some also annual returns. The return section start with section 37. Let's see returns. First return, guys. Of course, all returns are electronic. We also have an offline facility, offline utility, but mainly people file returns electronically. Guys, the first return section 37 is GSTR 1. What is the first thing you do? Supply. So for all the outward supplies, is a statement. It's called a return, but it's a statement. So you need to tell the government what all you supplied during a particular month. For B2B supplies, invoice-wise details, because someone else wants credit. What if it's to a composition scheme dealer? Still, guys, still invoice-wise. But if it's other than that, guys, then consolidate unless it is interstate more than 250,000. What if you've made no outward supplies? Then still you'll have to file what kind of return? Nil return. All right, that's GSTR 1. It's not supposed to be filed by some people. Is not compulsory. What is I? ISD. What is N? NRTP. OIDR, TDS, TCS, Saver Final. And comp is what, guys? Composition scheme dealer. And when is it supposed to be filed, guys? 11th, 10th of the next month. And guys, some people file it this month only. If your registration is getting cancelled, or if your CTP and a registration is getting cancelled, then in that case, as you will file it this month only. And guys, what if you've forgotten to include something in this? Can you go back? No, guys, train has left the station, so you can only incorporate in the month in which the errors of omission have been discovered. And any tax, if you have to pay extra, will be paid along with interest at what rate, guys? 18%. And here also, how many HSN codes? If more than 5, 6 digits, or if up to 5. And that was optional for B2C. And whatever you put in this, is it auto-populated? In GSTR 2A for regular scheme and GSTR 4A for composition scheme. All right. And do we need to upload scanned copies and all? No, guys. You know how bad scanned copies get. So GSTR 2, 1 is done. GSTR 2 was never introduced only, so that's out of the syllabus anyways. And GSTR 3B, the section changes to 39. Is it the main monthly return? Whatever your supplies are, whatever purchases, whatever you have to pay, I have to tell the government in GSTR 3B, you have to file this by which date, guys? 20th. Guys, by the way, this date has changed for some states, but no problem, you'll still consider 20th. Guys, if this, you have, say, self-assessment tax at 100 rupees, you have to pay that 100. If you don't pay the 100, the invoice will be, the return will be considered invalid. Remember that, guys. Envelope with always has to have money. All right. And this also is not supposed to be filed by, is not compulsory. All right. Next, GSTR 4. Guys, who is the guy who wakes up 4 times in the year, guys? Composition scheme dealer. He has to every time wake up and file only a payment return, which is called GST CMT 08. By when? 18. Remember the date? So when does he file his main return, guys? On 30th April, after the year end, GSTR 4. But guys, what if in this year you've been in both the schemes? Then you need to do both the formalities, guys. Yes. And composition scheme dealer, guys, does it have to worry about charging GST to customers? No. Does he have to worry about purchase credits? No. So life is simple, a simple return. And whatever composition scheme guy has to pay, he has to pay from which ledger, guys? Cash. Because credit for him is not there, only has to pay through cash ledger. All right. Next, guys, GSTR 5. Who has come from 5 countries? NRTP. But don't they pay GST in advance? Yes, they pay. So it's a return to file to tell the government how much they supply and to take the refund, if any. And this has to be filed by when, guys? 20th of the next month or 7 days from registration, whichever is earlier. So what if the registration expires today, 13th? Will they wait for 20th April? No, 7 days. Next, GSTR 11. Who went to 11 country? Sorry, how many embassies in India? 11. So UIN, remember UIN, unique identity number. They have to file GSTR 11 to get refund. Remember that, guys? Yes. And guys, in case this came again in November 22 paper, rectification. Guys, in case there's a mistake, how do you revise the return? In GST law, is there any provision to revise returns? No. However, in case any error or omission noticed, yes, sir, please, in deep sleep, wake him up, please. If an error or omission is noticed, guys, then it will be corrected in which month's return? In the month in which the error or omission is noticed. And if any GST is payable, it's supposed to be paid along with interest at the rate of what, guys? 18%. Guys, sorry to wake you up, but you have to be alert here. All right. This is 39. Guys, is there a first return? Is the first return similar only, but includes the revised invoices? Guys, is there a final return? GSTR 10. GSTR 10. After 10 years of business, you're shutting down. So GSTR 10, it has to be filed within how much time? 3 months. From the date of order of cancellation or date of cancellation, whichever is later. Guys, order came today, but cancellation is 31st March. Then from 31st March. Excellent, guys. Some people closing their eyes, revising with me. Excellent. Some people closing their eyes and going to sleep only. Even better. But please, everyone has to be here, guys. And everyone has to be filing an annual return. Is that right, guys? Section 44. How many lakhs does the CA firm charge? 9 lakh. GSTR 9. In annual return, you have to file it after the year ends by 31st December. But some people don't have to file. Is not casual. So composition scheme dealers, do they have to file this? Yes, because it's not casual. All right. And GSTR 9, 9A, 9B, 9C is also there. But remember, 9 works for annual return. And for a person who's closing down his business, does he have to file final and annual return? Yes, both. And guys, what if you don't file your returns? Will they knock on your door? Yes, they will knock on your door for a notice. 15 days in advance also, after that also. If you still don't file, guys, will they give you late fees? Section 47 says late fees, but have they been rationalized? GSTR 1, GSTR 3B, the main returns. Let's see their late fees. Maximum 250 or 4 times 1000 or 2500 or 4 times. So you have to remember these numbers. Then this is based on turnover. If the turnover is nil, 250. If turnover is up to 1.5, turnover is up to, and turnover is more than 5. This is for GSTR 1 and GSTR 3. This is the maximum. And this is under CGST. Same under SG. So whatever the final number is into 2. That's why it's very lethal. Earlier it used to be 100 per day or 5,000, whichever is less. Guys, if it's a annual return, remember section 44 annual return. If that is the case, then it's still 100 rupees per day or 0.25% of turnover. And for composition scheme people, are they small? So GSTR 4 also has been rationalized, guys. It's basically maximum 250 or 4 times 1000. So if the turnover is nil, then 250. Other turnovers, guys, 1000. All right. And can there be some people called GST practitioners? Yes. GST practitioners are people who can help people, clients with GST work. And these can be anyone who's a sound mind, solvent, and Indian citizen. He should be qualified. Full CA, full CMA can be, yes. Or you should be a graduate, postgraduate. Or you should be a tax officer at least. Or you should be a sales tax practitioner at least 5 years. But guys, is it automatic or do you have to enroll? You have to enroll, you have to clear some exams. Only then you're called a GST practitioner. Do you get a separate login? Yes, and all the work you do has to be authorized. Any mistake, who's responsible? Best part, client responsible, catch him, not me. And he has to give some exams by NACIN, etc. And is there a QRMP scheme? Very important. I am predicting this for either May or November 23, guys. QRMP scheme. It's quarterly return, monthly payment scheme. Generally, GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B has to be filed monthly. But if your turnover is up to 5 crore in the preceding year, then can you opt for the scheme? Yes. When can I opt for this scheme, guys? 1/2/L1, previous quarter, first day of the second month, and this quarter, last day of the first month. In between, you have to opt for it. And once you opt for it, you can opt for it entity-wise also. Guys, in this case, GSTR 1 has to be filed only once in a quarter. So what about first month and second month? If you have B2B supplies, you can file IFF, Invoice Furnishing Facility, and that is only for which supplies? B2B up to how many lakhs? 50 lakh. So first month, IFF. Second month, IFF. Third month, GSTR 1. So GSTR 1, what details will you put? The last month, all details. And the first and second month, B2C. B2C. All right. So GST, and all these have to be filed by 13th of the next month and pay by the 25th. Now, if I have to pay every month, I have to calculate. The government says, no, I'll give you a method, fixed sum method. Last month's, whatever you paid the same, 100%. Whatever you paid in cash, pay the same. If last month is quarterly, pay 35%. And if there is any shortfall, you don't have to pay interest. You have to pay the amount, but no interest. But if I want to self-assess, then if there is any shortfall, you are responsible, you'll have to pay interest. Guys, you are out of the scheme when, guys? When you are out of the scheme, whenever you touch the limit of 5 crore, you're out of the scheme. Or last month's GSTR 1 only you not filed. You were supposed to file once in a quarter. You forgot to file that, then IFF, you're out of the scheme. So in these cases, you are out of this quarterly return, monthly payment scheme. All right. Is there anything else? Guys, again, whatever you upload in IFF will be auto-populated in GSTR 2A. That all remains constant. Guys, no IFF. This IFF rule is not allowed if your turnover reaches what crores. If you've not filed GSTR 3B for the last period, GSTR 1 for the period, and if you violate the 1% rule, guys, here also is the 1% rule. And payment, there are two methods, self-assessment and general assessment. And QRMP scheme, GSTR 1 also quarterly and GSTR 3B also quarterly. That means QR means quarterly return. And GSTR 2A and GSTR 2B, if you watch a live match, is there real-time updates? Same happens in 2A, guys. 2A is real-time update. Yes, as and when you purchase, will someone be updating? And it will reflect in yours. But once they submit, guys, it's already a match over. Then it's GSTR 2A, then it is static. Are we okay with this? That comes to an end. Your return chapter here comes to a nice end, guys. And now, guys, we will be looking at, I'm just pausing this here. So while we ended return, I just want to make one message clear that exemptions we've not recorded right now. Maybe we'll record, maybe we'll not, but there's an exemption, one video of 1 hour of all exemption, covering all exemption. You can watch that. I watched, read the notes also, which I have given. They will suffice for exemptions and start doing sums on exemptions. Yes. So with this video, approximately 9-10 chapters, approximately 7 minutes each. So in about 70-75 minutes, you would have wrapped up the entire revision of GST. Hear it like you hear some playlist or music playlist. Unfortunately, guys, it's a tax playlist, but it'll really help whenever you want to revise. I've kept EBC the same. I've kept shortcuts the same, FTR, all the shortcuts, Sachin, you know, really, I've used all the shortcuts here also. So with your handwritten notes, they suit best. Yes, this video, the more you watch, the better you will get at GST, plus with as many sums as you can. Yes, and it's a short way of doing well in the exam. This videos and looking at your sums and more sums. Of course, coupled with your handwritten notes. Yes. All right. So